I'd like to welcome everybody to CJU15. I hope everybody's learning a lot, meeting with the folks they need to meet with, and are having a great time. I mean, for me, I'm learning the experience as I go, and it's quite an astounding event. I've been with the company about 4.5 months as president, and really from the first day, meeting with folks within the company, and then shortly thereafter with customers, it was clear that we're in a tremendous time of change. A time of change in the industry, and certainly a time of change at CJ. Last year, you learned that Commission Junction was being rebranded CJ Affiliate by Conversant. And later in the year, you got the big news that Conversant and CJ were being acquired by Alliance Data Systems, ADS. And this year, you got me, right? So I like those pictures because you can see how happy I was back then, you know? And that person's all like kind of still in me, although I think I've gotten wiser, smarter, but slower on the break dancing and a few other things. So as I go out to meet with clients and partners, I'm getting questions like, how important is CJ to ADS? Will CJ be sold off? Or will we go into some kind of cruise control? Right? So if there's one thing that you should take away from this presentation, and that is that ADS is investing in CJ. Today, for the long term, and for the long haul. All right? And it's a good investment thesis, right? Why? Because CJ starts from a leadership position. So as an investor, that's a great place to be. From a market size and growth potential, Affiliate has great potential, right, to say the least. And importantly, as we think about the opportunity to build and leverage assets across various ADS businesses, we think it's unparalleled. I'll speak to some of that in a moment. On a personal note, I'm here to stay too. I moved from Boston, where I was for the last 15 years, all the way to Santa Barbara with my family. It's not hard to do, but I got to take some credit where I can. And I've been given the opportunity, and thank you, Carrie, for helping me all this way, to lead a company whose overwhelming focus is going to be growth through innovation. And I do personally thrive on that. That's the thing that gets me up in the morning every day. So please raise your hand if you know what this is. Okay. And you know what role it played in our history? Is that a lesser hands? Yeah, okay. All right. So some people know what it is, and some people know what it played in our history. Well, this is a train whistle. Quite authentic, right? And we used to, at CJ, give it to every new partner. What's important about that is it symbolized the idea that we're all on the train together, and that when we work successfully together, we all benefited from increased sales and actions. So this fundamental principle, the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, is and will remain a CJ core value. But it's time to upgrade the train. Does anybody know what this is? Okay, this is the Japanese Maglev train that was tested earlier this year. The fastest train in the United States goes at 150 miles per hour. The Maglev can reach speeds of 375. So this innovation is nothing short of amazing. The engineers recognize that traditional trains could not support this kind of speed, so they had to imagine an entirely new rail system. The Maglev stands for magnetic levitation, which means these trains essentially float over a guideway using the basic principles of magnets, right? Pretty incredible. So I juxtaposition this because when I say we need a new train, I'm saying at CJ that we don't want to stay a little larger, we don't want to stay slightly ahead of trends, and we don't want to focus solely on the competition. We want to blaze a new trail with you. And like the Maglev, we have to innovate much more aggressively than in the past. The marketing landscape is changing faster than before, right? We all know that. We have more ways to reach consumers. We know more about consumers. Technology continues to make the world a much smaller place. But at the same time, consumer behavior is much more complex. It's only a few years ago that the vast majority of consumers used one device, and the majority of shopping was localized or within country. So take a look at some of these numbers, the latest numbers. 87% of consumers want a seamless experience. 98% of Americans switch between devices every day. And this is the most critical number of all. This is the number that we have to pay all attention to. Companies with strong omni-channel customer engagement retain 89% of their customers on average, compared to 33% for companies with weak engagement. So as marketers, we're moving rapidly into a world where we need to engage consumers wherever they are, on whatever device they're on, and we need to provide a unifying experience. So today, we're fundamentally in what we like to call a channelless and borderless environment. CJ's already made some impressive strides in these areas with pay-per-call and our site-to-store offering that connects online advertising with in-store purchasing. But there's so much more to do, and we can do it. With Conversant and Epsilon, CJ now has unrivaled access to 150 million unique consumers. So increasing our tracking and personalization capabilities in support of omnichannel will be a major part of building a new railway. That is critical, it's super critical, I can't say it enough. That's another thing to remember about this presentation. When we talk about engaging consumers, it's not only about reaching them, but it's about getting close to them. Right? The way we get closer to consumers is by better understanding them. Knowing who they are, how they behave, what they like and dislike. It's all about data, insights, analytics. So here's some other interesting numbers. 49% of marketers are reporting significant pressure to become more data-driven. 87% of marketers consider data the most underutilized asset in marketing organizations. That's a staggering number. Think about what that means. Think of what's running through people's minds. And the great thing is data is the core strength of Conversant and Epsilon. It's unmatched in the industry. And so we took a major step forward this year with our first version of what we called Affiliate Customer Insights, ACI. With ACI, we moved from transactional recording to consumer behavior. We can now measure new versus repeat. We can measure number of purchases, performance by channel, affiliate, display, search, email, and offline impact. Early next year, we'll be launching ACI 2.0. That'll include more data insights and enhanced visualization capabilities so that you can cut the data and analyze the data in much deeper ways than we can today. So there's a lot of companies out there with slick reporting, but no one has the data capabilities that CJ has. The thing that I did that turned out to be smart in my career was I actually went back to school twice, right? I actually went to college twice. I got essentially a math degree my second time because I was kind of a lazy initial college student. And then I got to CMU, which is almost like math camp, right? All day long. You don't even know if you're in a business school. So what really excites me about this industry, this business, CJ, ADS, Epsilon, is the ability to use data in all kinds of ways from an omnichannel perspective, from an insights perspective. I think these are kind of important things to understand about the company. Did you know that Conversant sees twice as many transactions on its slowest day as Amazon sees on its busiest day? Think about what that means in terms of what we can do. ADS, as our parent company, sees 90% of credit card transactions in the United States. And as a company, we are managing 100 million consumers on behalf of our clients. That's what we have. That's kind of the raw potential that we're working with. So with all this change in the market, as an industry, we have to change with it. So we all have to get on board. And I will tell you, CJ's not just getting on board, we're going to lead. Right? Much like we did in the beginning of the company, we're going to once again build a new railway. We're going to achieve this through innovation and through partnership, and we're going to transform the industry together. Change, to me, is an exciting time, right? So as I said earlier, I've never been more enthusiastic about a company or an industry. And when I think about CJU15, which now I have a good semblance of, I can tell you I'm looking forward to reviewing what we've accomplished over this coming year. That's what I'm looking forward to the most, all right? Thank you very much.